If there was a prize for worrying, I would be the winner. Death freaks me out. Sometimes I'll just start crying at the thought of losing someone close to me. Sometimes the moments are specific and maybe even justified. Last November, news reached my roommates and I that a good friend's father had passed of cancer. Not really knowing what we could do, we made the 40-minute journey to the calling hours the next evening. The hours spent there challenged any and all mechanisms I had for keeping any kind of composure in public. I had never even met this man, but the picture slideshows running on laptops, the soft music playing through the shadows, and the quotes hanging on the walls, even my friend's courage to stand for hours listening to others tell them how sorry they were, it was just too much. The drive home was barely completed behind blurry and swollen eyes. His dad was younger than mine. But sometimes these breakdowns aren't expected. It can just be a movie, a music video, or a friend's grief that spurs it on. Other times it's the happy moments that actually bring me to tears. What if this person who brings me so much joy, peace, support, laughter, and hope is gone tomorrow? The thought hits me like a punch to the lung, an iron fist squeezing oh so tight, my face contorting into pain. Then comes the guilt. Who am I to waste time being sad for the future? I know death is inevitable, so why waste even seconds over the worrying when I could be spending that time with these people I'm so worried about? Where others have already lost a mom, a dad, a boyfriend, or brother, I haven't. I worry so much about losing them, yet I think what I do is worse. I worry. How on earth am I going to have children at the rate I anticipate the loss of loved ones? I'm sure that my anxiety for the future stems from the fact that I really haven't had to deal with the loss of people who are close to me. My aunt and grandfather on my mom's side passed from cancer before I was 5. My dad's mom died before I was born. Our first name is all that we really share. A friend of a friend was taken by stomach cancer within months of a diagnosis. I have another friend that has lost her mother, her grandmother, her aunt, her uncle, all within the same year. These people know what real loss is like. They've survived it and even come out stronger. But what's going to happen to me? Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to tell you. The only first-hand encounter with death was Maggie May, the perfect dog, named after a Rod Stewart song. She was a golden retriever and a Samoyed mix. But I feel I'm being used. Oh, Maggie, I couldn't have tried anymore. We adopted her as a puppy from a neighbor when I was 3 or 4. Another family friend adopted a brother of hers, which they called Studley. It sounds silly, but if any two dogs looked like Studlings, it was Studley and Maggie. Their coloring was just so unique. She had a white coat that was toasted brown, and a unique pink nose, the rose color of an eraser. I know everyone says that their dog is the best, but Maggie was just so pleasant. She was even polite. Her sole purpose in life seemed to just be a sweet companion. Quiet, but strong. You know how some people can be a people person? Maggie was a people pet. She was often bored or shy with other animals, but found a real joy in befriending humans. She never jumped on strangers, or clawed them, or bit them, like her excited breed tends to do. And I can't say it's because of any special Newbert training. We have a pair of wild lab mixes now who experience the same environment as she did, but they, although harmlessly, intend to do all of those things. I guess the worst thing Maggie ever did was get into some wrapped chocolate one Christmas, but who can really blame her? Oh, Maggie, I couldn't have tried anymore. My favorite memory of Maggie was playing with her in our yard when we lived back in Colorado. Actually, it wasn't so much of a yard as much as a fairly steep field in the front of our house and a rocky side of a mountain in the back. It was great for exploring and climbing and adventuring. Maggie would always follow my brother and I around, panting and trotting to wherever we might journey. She is a great playmate and what I thought might be a decent protector should the infamous mountain lion in the neighborhood join in on our games. Whether that's the case, I'll never know. When I was about 16, Maggie passed away. Small, round tumors had begun appearing beneath her soft, pale fur, little lumps that doctors claimed are harmless. Perhaps they were, but the seizures that started around that same time were not. At first, we didn't even notice them. She would just be walking through the kitchen, then freeze, absolutely motionless. Seconds would pass, and she'd continue her journey with no concern in her step, not really understanding what was going on. Unfortunately, though, they got worse. One time, as she was stepping into our sunken living room, every muscle in her body seemed to clench yet shake at the same time. Her big brown eyes would glance our way, her forehead growing into a tiny furrow of fear. She always seemed to be caught between two places when these episodes happened. On the one hand, it seemed like she was saying, "Help, family, what's happening to me?" And at the same time, she seemed to be saying, "It's okay, I'm fine, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm fine." One evening, two of these episodes seemed to overlap one another. Her 12-year-old body just couldn't take it anymore. I remember seeing her freeze and fall over on her side. My parents and brother all watched in fear, calling the doctor, and then we saw it happen. In an instant, she was gone. I tried running up the stairs to my room. I had no idea what to do, but my feet failed me. I collapsed and tried to bury my face into the carpet. I tried to escape what had just happened. I just saw her alive. This can't be happening. This can't be real. My last image of her is my dad wrapping her gently in an old striped blanket and placing her in the car. I remember hearing him let out an "Oh, Maggie" with such a tone of sorrow as he lifted her from the floor. The sadness in all of my family's faces was almost as bad as the death itself. I think that's another aspect of what scares me about death. It's the aftermath of those that were close to the soul that passes. For me, crying is like vomiting. If I see someone else do it, I'm going to do it myself. I'll start to feel nauseous. So at the same time, I might be able to get over some of the pain, but if I see it in someone else's face, I'm back to square one. So where does all this leave me? It has been years since the night Maggie passed away. I have mostly all happy memories of her, wagging her tail and her loyal nature. We have 2 new dogs now, which I love just as much, and the only sadness I really feel is when I sit and try to relive that one night. That doesn't mean I'm not still terrified. I've overcome so many fears in my life, but I still struggle with knowing that I will lose people that are close to me. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where others don't merely act as companions, but as an actual part of me, and how can I lose that? I remember the pain of losing Maggie and wonder how I'll react in the future. I know this isn't the way I should be looking at death, but until I survive the next one, I don't have a lot of confidence in myself in taking it too well. What I do know is this. I refuse to let this fear dictate my relationships. I don't think the fear will ever really go away, but I don't have to let it scare me into submission. I could choose to stay isolated, stay distant, to never build the support of others that could disappear in a second. Sure, I could do that, but I'm not going to. I know I'll continue to grow closer to everyone who loves me. Maybe beating death for me is simply not to worry, not to be sad about events that really haven't even happened yet. I'll push on and let my arms remain open and my heart remain full, no matter what the future holds. I might have to shout it out my car window every day, but I will beat that fear. To love and to Maggie May.